Hi guys, so today we will write a JavaScript program to find the roots of a quadratic equation, and the output will be like this. We'll enter the values in a prompt and get the output in prompt also on the page also. We will set the background color as blue, sky blue, and then we will get the output on the screen also. So let us try for another one. Okay, so here were the roots on the prompt and here are the roots over here on the page. So I have used marquee over there and then border for that border line. Now let us try another input. Okay, so here were the roots. So let us start writing this program on the notepad and then we will save it as .html and then we will run it on our browser. So let us go for a new text file and then we save this as roots of quadratic let us say js and then .html. So uh, we will save as all files so that the extension should be .html and then roots of quad and then js for javascript and then .html. You can have any name you like. So let us go ahead. Now let me write the comment as JavaScript program to find roots of a quadratic equation first. So comment and then JavaScript J capital and then program to find roots of a quadratic equation. And then we wrote the head as JavaScript program to find roots of the quadratic equation as I showed you the earlier output. And then I had the marquee over the Pritam Kadam's code journal and then I made that border with text decoration and then border bottom as 10 pixels and like color as white. So let us go ahead and for underline I used the U tag. So let us go ahead. So h1 and underline as JavaScript program to find roots of a quadratic equation and then I will close the underline tag, that is I will close the U tag and then I will close the h1 also. So after this what I have to do is I will have its color as let us say yellow. So style equals to color colon yellow. So and then semicolon. Now I will write the uh, another head as let us say h1 only. So h1 and then we will have its style as yellow only and then I will write Pritam Kadam's code journal. So let me just copy paste this whole thing and then we will just remove the underline part tag and then I will write by Pritam Kadam's code journal. Now after this I have to like give out the quadratic equation and then I have to make the border. So for border I will use the text decoration. So in the style only. So let us go ahead. So I have closed the h1 over here. Let us use marquee so that this Pritam Kadam's code journal would be moving on the web page. So I will just copy paste this part to close that. So over here now let us write the quadratic equation. So h1 and then we will use the underline tag and then quadratic equation equals to ax square plus bx plus c. Now let us write the quadratic equation as quadratic equation and then let us say colon ax square plus bx plus c and then we will close the underline tag and then we will also close the h1 and we will write the style and text decoration inside the h1 tag. So let us write that down. So let us go to h1. Now we will write it as style equals to text decoration. We will give it none and then border would be at the bottom of this line. So border bottom equals to 10 pixel and I can give it as dotted or dashed. So I will use like dashed over here. So none semicolon and then border bottom would be equal to 10 pixel and it would be dashed. You can either use dotted or dashed, but I prefer dashed because I will use the dashed border again, border color as white. And whatever text I write between these borders, I will style that color as white only. So uh, let us first of all have the borders color as white. Now, okay, I have closed the underline and head one also. So let us set h2 as like entered the coefficient in prompt, because I will like give the prompt box to enter the values of the quadratic coefficient a, linear coefficient b, and constant c. And then we will go to the script and print the roots in the prompt first, and then on the web page too. So let us write entered the like coefficients in prompt, and then underline close, and then h2 close also. So now what I have to do is I will have a border after the roots, means the line, roots, and arrow would be shown, and its color would be white, and the border's color would be white also. So I will directly write color colon white, so that it would be executed for the border color also. So let us copy paste this part. I will remove this underline stuff, and then color white would make this whatever text I will write plus the border, both the colors as white. So let us write roots equals to an arrow, means the roots are down below on the web page. Now uh, these stuff would be printed between the borders, and the border would be having the color as white. Now I will close the head, and then we will start the body. I will set the BG color as sky blue, for like background color is set to sky blue, and then we will write the prompt box, and then check the conditions of the discriminant with the variable d, and we will print the roots on the prompt and also on the web page. So we will declare variables with let, and then let will allow us to declare variables that are limited to a specific block, means it won't be like globally, but for this specific we have to use the variable. So I will use let a equals to prompt, and then give the instruction as enter quadratic coefficient a. So let us write it down. So let will allow us to declare variable that are limited to a specific block, and then let a equals to prompt, and then I will show the equation and also give the instruction to the user that enter the quadratic coefficient a. So equation would be ax square plus bx, and then plus c, and we have to like give the instruction as enter quadratic coefficient a. Okay, now we will copy paste this whole thing for b and c also. And for b I will give that instruction like enter linear coefficient b, and for c I will write it as enter constant c. So let us make the update. So over here I will write b, and I will update this as c. Now I have to write over here as enter the constant a, c in place of a. So let us remove this a also, and then I will write enter the constant c, and over here I will write enter linear coefficient b, the coefficient of the x in the equation ax square plus bx plus c, and also the constant c. And after getting the values of a, b, and c, I will have the discriminants value. So d would be equal to b square minus 4ac. So let us write it down. So b square minus 4ac, and then I'll write it in comment uh, that this is discriminant, and then I will declare variables as r1 and r2 for roots, and we will have the values in the conditions only, if conditions. So let us write let r1 comma r2 so that they are declared. We don't have to write let r1 equals to minus b plus square root of discriminant upon 2a and let r2 again and again. So I have declared the variables above only, so I will directly give the value. So it would be equal to minus b plus square root of d. So for that I will use the math.sqrt method, or we can say function, and then upon 2a. So semicolon. Now r2 would be equal to this whole thing upon and updation in the minus sign, that is minus b minus square root of d upon 2a. And then after this I will give an alert box, like the output would be also on the alert box and also on the screen. So on the alert box it will be shown like the roots of quadratic equation are, and then for the value of the variables I will use dollar and r1 in the curly brackets. So let us write r1 and dollar r2 in curly brackets, so that the value of the variables would be printed over here. And then we will close this now, and uh, let us write a comment after this, like result would be printed on alert box, and for printing it on web page 2 we will use document.write. And let us write it first. So result would be printed on alert box because we used alert, and for printing it on the web page too we will use document.write. We will use document.write. So for someone who have not been able to see the output on the alert box would be able to see it on the screen also. So in place of alert I will write document.write. So okay, so first condition is done. Now I have to check for the d double equals to 0, that is if d was equal to 0. So I will write it in else if. So if the first condition was not true, then go to the else part, and in the else part also we have to check the condition if d was double equal to 0. And we are not using single equals to, because single equals to would assign the value to the variable, and double equals to is for comparison. So let us write the value of the root as r only, because both the roots would be equal. So let us write it down. So r equals to minus b upon 2a, and we have to give the alert as the roots of quadratic equation are equal, and we will give the only one value of the root. So let us go ahead. So over here are equal and above also. So let us write the else condition first, and then we will update the r as an r1 and r2, and both would be equal. So r1 equals to r2 equals to minus b upon 2a. So for else means if it was not greater than 0 and equal to, it should be less than 0, and if it is like that, then the root would be containing real and an imaginary number. So let real equals to minus b upon 2a, and the imaginary would be equal to the square root of minus d upon 2a. So let us write let imaginary equals to and math.sqrt of minus d and this whole thing upon 2a. So I will close the bracket and then upon 2a. So let us write this as divide by and in the bracket 2 star a, and after this we will copy paste the above part and just update that the roots of quadratic equation are combination of real and imaginary. And in place of r1 and r2 I will write real plus imaginary, and another root would be real minus imaginary, and we would do the same in document.write. I have pasted from above because we already copied it earlier. So the roots of quadratic equation are like combination of real and imaginary. Combination of real and imaginary. And then in place of r1 and r2, I have to write dollar real, the value of the real variable, plus dollar imaginary, the value of the imaginary variable. and the second root would be equal to real minus imaginary, so dollar real minus dollar imaginary. So let us go ahead and update that r2 above over there. So let us write it down. Now I will just copy paste this part in the document.write so that it would be same for this alert and on the web page too. So let us update this thing. Okay, now I have to like close the script tag and then body, and then we will close the HTML, and then we will check for the errors, and that's all. We would be able to like run the program then. So here is the program. Let me just check out some stuff. So Control S. Now let us run this on the browser. So let us start this. Okay, so enter the quadratic coefficient A, so 2, linear coefficient as 4, and constant C as this. But in place of output, it was showing $R1 and $R2. So we might have made some errors over there on the alert and document.write, and other stuff was correct because we were getting the blue background and also the marquee and also the border were correct. So let me just take a look over here. Okay, so R1 and R2 and alert $R1 and $R2. Okay, we declared it earlier only and assign the values over here. So okay, so in place of R1 and R2 I left it as R only, so now it should give me the output. Okay, now also it is giving me the same, so let us check it again. So now let us go ahead. Now let us go for the discriminant value as 0, but the output is same only. Now let us like remove some comments and all, and let us see why this was happening. Okay, so in place of discriminant I wrote b square plus 4ac in place of b square minus 4ac. This might have been one error, and for the other stuff this looks good now. Okay, so I wrote this alert, then R1 and R2. Over here also it's the same. We have also closed it. We have also declared the R1 and R2, and over here I have used the variable real imaginary. We have closed the script also. Let us run this again. Okay, now it should not give me an error. So let us go for d equals to 0. So 4 2. Okay, so -1 and -1 because both the roots would be equal for discriminant equals to 0. So now let us run it again for next condition, that is let us say 1 20 and 1. So it was condition for d greater than 0. So here are the roots. Now let us go for d less than 0, that is this discriminant is less than 0, so b square should be less. So here it is. So we got the real value plus imaginary value and root 2 as real minus imaginary value. So once again let us go to the program to see the whole program at once. We use the border. In first we just colored the border, and in the next section, that is in the roots part, we used only color in text decoration so that the roots and the border both would be white. So here is the program. If you want to take a screenshot you can take one. So over here we got the print on the web page. Now we started the script. We got the values from the prompt box, then we checked the discriminants value and then printed the output on the alert and also on the web page. So thank you guys for watching the video. Please do like, share and subscribe. Also comment down below if you are having any doubts or you want any questions for me to like make video on. So see you on the next video.